Hello and welcome back. My name is David. Today I'm going to be addressing one of my challenges, but my favorites, which are begonias. I have a few Rex begonias and a few cane begonias that I'm going to try to do arrangements in as big as this. But I also have these ones, which I found at Walmart. They were on clearance for like about $6, and they're terracotta with a clear reservoir. I believe they will be great for begonias. But before any of that happen, I'm gonna make begonia mix, and in the next episode, I'll do the arrangements. So let's start with that. For my approach to the begonias are really heavy feeders. They need a very well draining soil, but at the same time, having them in the soil that they come, which is usually peat moss with a little bit of perlite, it happens that when that mix gets dry, then if you don't soak the pot, each pot or each planter, and let that whole medium absorb the water, then you get pockets will be completely dry, and that can kill the plant. And they're quite sensitive as well. So now tuberous begonias are a different thing, but like I also use the same mix. So again, this episode is about begonia mix. Okay, so remember I'm using this as a measuring cup. So this will be considered one measure or one part in the formula. So we're going to start with the steer manure blend, which is cow manure with compost. We're going to add one cup of chicken manure. The reason I mix them is because they have different nutrients. So 1 cup of chicken manure, break it down. 1 cup of peat moss, 1 cup of rice husk, 1 cup of perlite, and I have number 4, but it can be like regular perlite as well. And just like I like to mention in my other videos, uh, if you're sensitive to the dust of the perlite or of the charcoal, or the vermiculite, use a mask. If your skin is sensitive, wear gloves. And again, there's an option that you can wash off the perlite, wash off the stuff that it gets powdery. You can wash it off first and drain it out. I rather just do it this way. The fine particles, the like dust and stuff, as you move the container, as you work with the medium, like those parts are going to fall into the bottom, so I dispose of them later on. After that, a cup of vermiculite, then there's a couple of more ingredients that I add here. Now this one, because it's a much finer mix altogether, different from the array mix or the any chunkier mix, I can add the smaller particles here in this part, not the mycorrhizae or the diatomaceous earth, but the airworm castings. I can add them here. For this amount, I'm gonna add, but I still have another pathway ground cover that you can find at the big box store. That is very much like a fine shredded mulch, and it will be a cup of that. And I'm also gonna add a cup of coco coir. So this is what the ground cover looks like. It doesn't have any dyes, uh, like regular mulch that comes in different colors or everything. This is just forest clippings. So this is as good as it gets when it comes to like a regular and normal occurring compost. So you can see the mix that I'm making is really heavy on compost and nutrients, because that's what these plants actually like. So let me get the other materials. All right, so 1 cup of cocoa coir. I'd like to remind you that what I learned about cocoa coir, also with cocoa chips, but I'm not using cocoa chips here, is to learn when you buy it if this mixture has been actually rinsed off, like really washed, because these mixtures tend to have a lot of salinity from the ocean. So for that reason, make sure that all those salts have been washed. Otherwise, you will see it on your plants. And again, last but not least, earthworm castings. So of these, I don't know if you can see it there. I'm doing a half cup. Just break down any clumps. And this time I'm going to make the mix of all of it right in front of you right here. The other things I'm going to add right now is a slow release fertilizer, because again, it can crumble, it can mix well with this mix. You can also add this at the time of repot. And also, I'm going to add about a half a cup of charcoal. That's not so much for the chunkiness of the charcoal, but like for the properties that the charcoal has to filter in impurities in the soil and when you water. And now we finish adding the other materials. And then stay tuned for the next episode, because I'm going to teach you how to take advantage of this big of a setting, but without creating waterlogging for the size of it, especially for smaller root system like begonias. It's hard work. So once it's almost start blending, just to make sure, what I like to do is I dump it a couple of times into the other containers and sift it around so it can get a good mix. But this is it. This is your begonia mix. This is my begonia mix, but it could be your begonia mix. Stay tuned for the arrangements that are coming in the next episode. Thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate if you subscribe, means the world to me. Drop a like, comment, and share, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.